Hi everybody, Taz here from Melius Consulting. I hope you're well. Coming to you from beautiful Sri Lanka, as you can see behind me. Actually, it's the first day of sunshine this week. The last few days have been utterly miserable and constantly raining, so it's very nice to see the sun breaking through. I'm here running a series of programs for local businesses, and the last couple of days have been fascinating. I've been working with one of the country's biggest financial services organizations and their senior leadership team. And we've been talking about unconscious bias. Fascinating subject, right? Fascinating subject. And I think the key takeaways that I shared with the teams were that, first of all, bias is completely normal, right? I know a lot of conversation around the world about we've got to eliminate bias, we've got to get rid of it. The fact is you can't. Bias is so ingrained in us from a very early age. Actually, it goes back to the beginning of mankind. It helped us to survive. It's helped us to thrive. Bias is completely normal. Bias, of course, gets a bad rep, right? We tend to think of bias in a negative sense, but actually there are many positive biases which still today help us to make smart decisions. But let's look at it from a negative sense. That's of course where we have to manage the bias. We have to move it from the unconscious to the conscious, become very aware of our own biases. And then what I think is the critical step is actually what you do afterwards, the action you take based on your bias. And if you bring the bias to awareness, then you are making now a conscious choice on how you behave, whether you continue your behavior in a negative sense with that bias, or whether you change course and actually catch the bias and say, no, I'm going to take a different action. And I think that's where the skill lies. So that was one of the sort of core things I left with the teams as I was speaking to them over the last couple of days. Share one of the most interesting comments I received from one of the leaders. She said to me, I was asking her how the course was going for her and how the program was going for her. And she said to me, I always thought it was just me with biases. I never realized everybody else also had them. And it's fascinating, isn't it? This was a senior leader within a professional services business. She was obviously very, very capable in her job, but yet sort of didn't realize that actually everybody is full of bias in all sorts of areas. And that was one of her biggest takeaways, at least at the beginning of the program, was that it's not just me, and it's okay to have these biases. It's what we do with them that really makes the difference. So there you go. Just a little share over the last few days. It's been a wonderful few days, really intensive, really exhausting, but hopefully very valuable to the people that I've been with. And for me also, some really, really, really interesting learnings and takeaways, and fantastic discussion between these senior leaders about what bias means within their organization, and really critically how it's impacting bottom line, how it's impacting employee engagement and motivation and all sorts of things. So it's been a fascinating few days. If any of you from the organization are watching this, thank you for having me. It's been brilliant 3 days. I hope I've been valuable. And to the rest of you, I hope you've enjoyed this video about unconscious bias and how we can manage it. I'll talk to you again really soon. Have a great rest of the day. Bye.